Hello, hi, welcome back to the Healing Girl Chronicles. It is I am back with another episode. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome to you also. And thank you very much for returning. So, today I want to speak about. I was listening to a podcast, and it's basically what the people were talking about to the podcast. They were talking about spirituality and how effective and true spirituality must coincide alongside psychology, which I agree because I love psychology. I think it's one of my favorite topics on earth. I think it's very important for us to kind of understand how our minds work, Too many mental issues get characterized and misdiagnosed as like demonic entities or demonic interference or demonic possession, which is not true, especially in the black culture. Certain things, like when you have stagnation in your life, you always think it's witchcraft, and sometimes that's not true. Sometimes it's a matter of us being mentally sick, mentally unaware about the various patterns that we've either grown up around. We've maybe been conditioned to behave in certain ways due to our environment, certain traumas that we've experienced, a myriad of reasons as to why we come to be the way we are, And not to say that I discount the power of Christ and the power of God, because in my life personally, I've had an encounter where I cannot deny the presence of God. It's not possible for me. So I'm not even going to touch on it's God not being real. For me, He's real. And however, also, I feel like psychology is also a topic that, for me, as somebody who's gone to therapy, somebody who continuously works on herself, self-development, learning certain things, listening to podcasts that champion mental health, understanding triggers, dealing with trauma. Those topics are very interesting to me, so I gravitate towards them. And I think also in your healing journey, as a person who is embarking on healing and you are in the process of healing, I think the one thing that I want to say actually is the fact that learn how your mind works. Invest time in trying to figure out why you do or why you react the way you do. You can have all kinds of spiritual awakening and enlightenment, but if you don't know what makes you tick, or if you don't know why you respond in a certain way to certain triggers, situations, people, you won't actually get better. You need to get to a point where you're not allowing the external to kind of rule you, and the only way you can do that is through behavior recognition, pattern recognition, and just understanding why you are the way you are. I think it's so important. And I think sometimes as a spiritual community, church, we don't really speak about mental health and how devastating the effects are when you don't know what's going on in your mind. You get misdirected, you get misled, you get into situations and scenarios that you could have easily avoided had you had adequate knowledge, or had you known your triggers, or had you known psychologically on a even a hormonal and like chemical way how your mind works, whether you've got a chemical imbalance, whether you are dealing with traumas that are causing your anger. All of these things, I feel like they're so important and they don't really get discussed. So I would urge you to find a community or find a therapist, speak to someone. And also another thing that I want to speak about is the fact that in your healing journey and in going through therapy, understand that also there will be certain people that weaponize your healing against you. I'll speak from my own personal experience. I've struggled really hard I've had real struggles with my childhood, certain experiences in my childhood that have brought about anger. You know, I mean, I'm still working through them, but I have anger issues, and my anger issues just don't stem from being discontent with life or certain failures. No, they have a source, you know, and my source is in my childhood. So going to therapy, I was able to unearth certain things that obviously caused a kind of catastrophic aftermath in my life, in the sense that I was angry, I was resentful, I was rageful, and I wanted justice for myself, you know. But as time went by, I've learned to kind of quell that anger, even though obviously it's not easy, but I'm learning to kind of manage my emotions, manage my reactions, and also be in a place sometimes where I don't interact with certain people, because I know that I do not have the capacity at the moment to kind of interact with them in a healthy way. And I think that comes with self-awareness. You need to know what your limit is, you know. Certain times in your healing journey, you need to withdraw from certain people, whether that's permanent or that's temporary. That's purely up to you. But for me, I've had to take a step back. I've had to not engage with certain people, purely because I'm not in a position to do that in a healthy way. And also, I'm not in a position to have certain conversations where people will either gaslight me, tell me, or try to convince me that I have not remembered correctly what happened, or they try to dismiss what I'm trying to say. So being in those environments trigger and aggravate me. So I don't have to then engage in that, because they have their perception, I have my lived perception, and sometimes we're just not going to get to a point where we agree, and that's fine. So adding on to that is the fact that you will feel misunderstood, and that's okay too. I think it's a difficult thing because we live in a society where we are always seeking external validation one way or another, you know. We're always wanting to be seen by other people. We always want to be understood because it validates our emotions, it validates our experiences, and it doesn't make us feel like we're some freak on an island, you know, where we don't actually know what's going on about us, and we just feel alienated, you know, ostracized, othered, you know. So I think in healing, again, it's a natural thing where not everyone's going to understand you. Everybody's not meant to understand you. And that's why healing is a journey that is set apart. Not everyone chooses to actually confront the things that many people run away from. So I think you need to just commend yourself for doing things that people run away from. You know, people aren't strong enough to look within themselves. They're not strong enough to be with themselves. They're not strong enough to deal with themselves, you know. And if you're one of the people who, for whatever reason, find yourself in a situation where you have to confront yourself, I think you are brave. I think you are courageous. I think you're strong. I think you are resilient. And I think, you know, you are set apart. You know, you are so strong. You don't actually realize how strong you are, you know. And so not many people are going to understand you purely based on your journey, and that should be okay. I know it's not easy, and I know it's not a kind of nonchalant kind of thing where you feel misunderstood. It's a really deep and hurtful thing. I completely understand, but don't allow that to deter you, because you will find people that will validate you without you even asking to be validated. Because I find myself listening to certain people, and sometimes I have to stop myself because I'm so overwhelmed with recognition. I'm so overwhelmed with resonance. I'm so overwhelmed with an innate understanding, almost like this person, it's like they're speaking on my behalf. It's like they are with me. It's like they're in my mind, you know. And I found those experiences so validating for me, because like that person doesn't know me. I'm just watching them on a screen. I've listened to their podcast. I'm reading a book or listening to a audio book or whatever source that I'm getting my information from. That person or that body of work is so it resonates with me so deeply that I feel like, oh, okay, so I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who feels like this. I'm not the only one who battles with this. I'm not the only one who sees things in this perspective, you know. And the masses won't, and that's okay, you know. And I'm also in a space where I'm navigating being okay with not being validated by other people, even when I still have a yearning for them to validate me. But I'm learning more to kind of lean on my own, and obviously God as the place of where I understand who I am, because He is my source, He's my creator. So if anything, He is my guiding light, He's my North Star. So I have to look to Him and not places of familiarity, you know, places that are oppressive. Like, they're familiar, but they're oppressive, and they've been oppressive to me. So I cannot look to those people anymore, or those places anymore. And it's a journey. It's not a overnight thing. It's not maybe a couple week thing. It's not maybe even a couple of years thing. I think it's just a journey that you take, and the duration is obviously dependent on you and how you tackle and deal with your healing. And respect also your journey, honor your journey. Healing is not monolithic. That's another thing. Healing is not monolithic. People heal in different ways. So sometimes you fall into the trap of wanting your healing to mimic somebody else's healing. It doesn't work like that. Maybe there are certain parts of your healing that will look like other people, but there are many parts of your healing that won't. And so don't disregard your path of healing because it doesn't look like another person's, or it doesn't resemble another person. It's not really about them. It's about you, and you honoring your path, you know, staying your path, and handling whatever comes with your path, you know, and being truthful to your experience, and not getting deluded with other people's experiences, or you know, feeling as though you're not healing correctly or not healing in the right way, you know. So yeah, I just felt today that that's what I wanted to share, because I was listening to something and it kind of just sparked my my desire to want and share that here right now with you guys. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for staying till this point. I mean, I know I'm a blabber, I talk a lot, and that's also one of the things that I felt like I needed to be subconscious about, the fact that I am opinionated, I do talk a lot, and sometimes to people's discomfort I talk. But I'm learning to talk more, actually, because I don't think I talk enough. I think I need to talk more. I think it's very necessary for me to speak. So I am just honoring that calling within me to speak, and to create a community with you guys where you don't feel alone, you don't feel crazy, because that's the C word that we get thrown with when we are healing, that we're crazy. We're not crazy. We're just unearthing, we are dismantling, we are coming into our own, and we are in a process of also dying, you know, because healing is a death to oneself, to your old self, so that you can, you know, come again and rise as this kind of more informed, healed, and healthy version of yourself. So, and which I advocate for always. Health, 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 health. Health supersedes everything and anyone. Your health matters. Mental, physical, otherwise your health comes first. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.